I'm going to show you how to build a content marketing system that attracts the right clients and makes you an authority. So you can stop relying on referrals, stop throwing away money with ads, and stop worrying about the uncertain future of your business. In this short video, you're going to discover the simple, overlooked way to get far more visitors to your site without going broke with paid traffic or relying on referrals. I'm going to show you how to use this method to generate 3 times more leads than any other marketing method. And the 3 biggest mistakes coaches and consultants make with online marketing that sucks all their time and leads to 0 clients. We're also going to talk about why 97% of coaches and consultants will never get any leads from their social media profiles. So if you're frustrated and overwhelmed because you churn out blog and social media posts, but they're not generating any leads, if you're tired of taking on all the crappy projects that come your way, and if you're afraid to say no because you're not sure where your next project will come from, keep watching because I'm going to show you how to fill your inbox with people begging to work with you, even if your referrals have run dry and you have no money for ads. Imagine how it would feel to stop spinning your wheels and start taking control of your business. What if you didn't have to ride that roller coaster of having a great month and going out to fancy steak dinners, and the next month you haven't closed any new projects and you're eating nothing but ramen? What if you could spend less time worrying about where your next project will come from? What would it feel like if you didn't need a backup plan? My goal for you is that you know the exact online marketing method that attracts followers, builds trust, and gets you the credibility you need to attract high-value clients. Let me tell you a quick story. I've been building businesses long before I ever had a full-time job, but they didn't always end up super successful. I did web design, then I built a website teaching kids how to get into college and made money through affiliate marketing. Then I was a family photographer for a while, and I started a blog again thinking that I would do affiliate marketing once again. But none of these things allowed me to not have a full-time job. I worked at several different nonprofits, and I discovered that I had a knack for digital marketing. Initially, when I started working at nonprofits, I followed the rules, did what I was told, but I felt like there was more I could do. I started experimenting with different strategies and testing different ideas. Eventually, I developed my own theories and started sharing them with colleagues of mine, and then I started presenting them at conferences and being on podcasts. Long story short, I ended up becoming a digital marketing consultant. I wasn't always successful. I went from multiple flopped businesses to finding my path and becoming a sought-after digital marketing consultant. This is me. I'm Rebecca Reynandez. I live in Minnesota, and in addition to all those side businesses I've worked on, I spent most of my career in nonprofits. It was a pretty windy path to get to where I am today. I have a degree in Portuguese and a minor in engineering, and that's not a combination you can do much with after you graduate. I had to find my own way and build my strategies and build my business from the ground up. A lot of people, when they start coaching or consulting businesses, they have a great network that they can tap into. But when I started out, I didn't have a big network that was relevant to what I wanted to do with my consulting. Here's an example of one of the projects that I've worked on. I facilitated a website redesign, and I thought with a new design we would get tons of new traffic. But I was horribly wrong. After the website launched, the number of visits really didn't budge. And I was surprised. I thought that this new design would change everything. I realized that it wasn't the design that drove traffic, it was the content itself. So I implemented some new strategies and tested out some new ideas. I also added some new content that I thought this website really needed. And once I did that, the traffic started increasing dramatically. And it's been growing year after year ever since. Here's another project that I worked on. For this particular organization, the number of subscribers to their email list was slowly but surely going down. This was not going in the right direction. So I helped them implement some new strategies to bring in more people to their site and to encourage more people to sign up for their list. And this was the result. They went from losing about 20 subscribers per month to gaining about 300 subscribers per month. These are just a few examples of the projects I've worked on, and I had to figure out all of these things the hard way through trial and error. You can take a shortcut and learn from all of my mistakes. When you're thinking about how you're going to attract clients, there are 3 main options that you have. 2 of them are hard, and 1 of them will leave you broke. The first one everyone talks about is networking. This, as you know, is a huge time sink. Maybe you're an introvert like me and you want to stay far, far away from these events. Or maybe you just don't have the time to spend every evening going to random events and meeting random people who just throw their business card at you. Even if you found networking events useful, you can only go to so many events a week. Another option you have is paid ads. This requires a lot of trial and error and is honestly very expensive and risky. If you don't know what you're doing, you can easily drain your bank account trying to figure out how online ads work. And if you're still figuring out who you're going to target and what your messages are, and you're still tweaking your website, paid ads are not going to be a good option because you don't have the right system set up to bring the right people into your business. You might get more traffic coming in, but chances are it won't be the right people for the right reasons. And all of that traffic won't matter if you can't turn them into clients. The third option is online marketing. This is where you actually build relationships online. You can build a following and maybe even build your own platform like a podcast or YouTube channel. But this option can be a huge time sink because most people actually do this wrong. It seems easy since so many of us have our own social media profiles, and we figure, hey, I'm on Facebook or Instagram all the time. I'll use it to promote my business. How hard can it be? But those platforms are just a tool, and if you don't have the right strategy behind it, it will be very difficult to turn those followers into clients. Online marketing definitely has its advantages. Done right, it can bring in more traffic to your website for free. And if someone comes to your website and they don't know much about you yet, but you have a great blog, some videos, maybe a webinar they can sign up for, then those website visitors can get to know you without you having to talk to all of them one-on-one. That helps build that relationship and warm up those cold leads. And it can bring you name recognition. Once you start building a following, it doesn't take long before people start recognizing who you are and recommending you to people they know. Plus, you can scale your business without losing your free time going to endless networking events or draining your bank account on ads that don't really work. And you'll find that when you do online marketing right, that the people who set up a meeting with you are much more qualified and they already know who you are and what you offer. So the conversation about your services is so much easier. So why do all of that work? High-paying clients don't just want to work with anyone. They want to work with the best. But if you don't have a big network or a big following, it's difficult to build enough credibility to land those high-paying projects. If you go about this the right way, though, online marketing can build authority and trust. I snapped this photo a few months ago when I was getting ready to present at a conference. This room held about 100 people, and by the time I was ready to present, almost every chair was filled. When I'm standing up there presenting, I'm the authority, even if they've never heard of me before. And at the end of the workshop, tons of people were coming up to me, asking me questions, asking if they can set up a meeting with me. Some people even asked if they could hire me to do the presentation at a different venue. Most, if not all of these participants didn't know anything about me before I started this presentation, but I positioned myself as an authority, and throughout the presentation, I gained their trust, even though I wasn't talking to each one of them individually. And the great thing is, you don't have to do this in person. You can build this authority and trust online. You don't ever have to leave your desk. Here's an example. Since I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, I knew that there were a lot of changes to Google AdWords that really affected nonprofits. I put up a post in a Facebook group asking if they'd be interested in a training that I knew I could put together quickly. Over 160 people liked the post, and they had so many comments of people saying they would be interested in this training that they actually shut down the comments. And even though this was a free training, I did get clients from this one post and the webinar training, and it was all working remotely. I never met any of these potential clients in person. Even though I'm in the most competitive market on the internet, I'm still able to get clients using online marketing. But I see a lot of people delving into this online marketing world and making some mistakes that suck up all their time and don't lead to any clients. And even veteran coaches and consultants make these mistakes. The first mistake I see is not offering the right value. Coaches and consultants spend a lot of time putting their websites together, hoping that it will bring them clients. I see people do this all the time. They encourage people to follow them on social media, subscribe to their e-newsletter, or even to hire them straight from their website. Of course, you should definitely have all of those things on your site, but that's not the value that your website visitors are looking for. Asking someone to hire you after they look at your website is kind of like asking someone to marry you after the first date. It's a big commitment, and people want to get to know you and trust you first, and they just might want to see if it's a good fit. So if you don't offer the right value on your website, the kind that builds trust and starts a relationship with your website visitors, then they'll be wondering, what's in it for me? They might also be thinking, I don't want someone blowing up my Facebook feed with spam, or I'm trying to get to inbox 0. I don't need any more emails. Hire you now? I don't even know you. The key here is to offer the right value, and we'll talk about how to identify that in just a few minutes. The second mistake I see a lot of people doing is having a one-way conversation. This is an easy trap to fall into because you don't actually have to be social on social media. Take Facebook, for example. It's basically an online bulletin board, and it's really tempting to just post links all the time. I'm sure you've seen a feed like this. One post might say something like, look at my awesome new blog post, and then the next one is a photo of them doing a presentation, and then the one after that is some sort of announcement about their new website design, and the next one is a new video that they put out, and the next one is them asking you to subscribe to their email list. You get the picture. The theme here is that it's me, me, me. It's all about that particular person or business. It's similar to going to a networking event or going on a date, and the person across the table won't stop talking about themselves. They don't ask any questions or listen to anything you have to say. They just keep talking and talking and talking about all the things they've done and how great they are. The reality is, though, that relationships lead to clients, not posting links. So you really need to figure out how you can use those online platforms to have a two-way conversation and develop those relationships and actually engage with people on these platforms. That's what's going to lead to building trust, authority, and relationships that can lead to a project. The third mistake I see is that people drop the ball. And what I mean by this is that, say you set up a really great webinar and 50 people sign up and you think, okay, this is going to be great. 50 people are signed up and they're going to learn about me, and I'm going to get tons of people emailing me asking to work with me. Well, that's not what happens. Trust me, I've learned this the hard way. I've put a lot of time into blogs, webinars, and workshops, expecting that it would lead to projects. And I found that if you don't set those up the right way, you might have one or two people email you if you're lucky, but they won't be asking about your consulting services. Instead, they'll just be looking for some more free information and they won't actually be interested in hiring you. Let me tell you a quick story to illustrate what this looks like. I went on a road trip to Yellowstone a few years ago, and on our way back, I wanted to visit the Enchanted Highway in North Dakota. This is a little detour off the main highway that has some really amazing metal sculptures. It's kind of like a drive-through art gallery. The artist who started this project wanted to bring more people to some of the smaller towns in the area. The sculptures were really amazing, and it was definitely worth the detour. But when we got to the town at the end, there wasn't anything to do there. I would have loved to pick up a snack at a local bakery or visit one of the shops, but everything was closed. And at the very least, it would have been nice if they maybe had a small gift shop area in the gas station. But there was nothing. The main purpose of these sculptures was to bring people to the smaller towns in North Dakota, but once we got there, there wasn't anything for us to do but turn around. The same thing happens online. What I see all the time is that people do all of these great activities online that end up leading nowhere. They set up blogs, they put together e-newsletters, webinars, ebook downloads, and social media pages, and they end up posting content just to post it. It becomes something just to check off their list, instead of thinking about how can I get them closer to learning more about my services and being interested in setting up a call with me. Doing a one-off event or doing a series of blog posts isn't necessarily going to bring you clients. You need to follow through and continuously remind them that you exist and that you have something to offer. The bottom line is, the more time you spend online doesn't necessarily translate into more clients. You could spend every waking hour creating blog posts and videos and webinars and trainings and ebooks, and the list goes on. And if it's not done right, all of that work won't lead to any new clients. Without a strategy, I see so many coaches and consultants waste tons of time online just spinning their wheels and not actually moving forward. When you have a really great online strategy, that's what will get you more clients. It's not about doing more and working harder, it's about working smarter. Let's talk about the solution. What can you do? How can you actually do online marketing in a way that builds that authority and trust to bring in clients and charge premium prices? It's all about building a content marketing strategy. Content marketing is a plan for distributing content to attract and convert leads, which is exactly what you want. Basically, it's putting the right content in front of the right people at the right time. Before social media really took off, the main option for marketing that we had was in this interruptive marketing category. Those are things like radio ads, TV ads, billboards, email spam, newspaper ads, and magazine ads. And those things are still around today, but there are a couple of problems with this approach. First, it's very expensive. Second, these things are very easy to tune out. If you're listening to the radio and you start hearing the commercial break, you can very easily change the channel. If you're reading a magazine and you see an ad in between the article that you're reading, you can quickly flip the page. Now, we have an incredible opportunity to use a more engaging marketing approach. These are things like blog posts, social media posts, Twitter chats, videos, podcasts, and e-newsletters. This is all about creating great content. And the awesome thing about this approach is that it actually brings people to you instead of you going out and begging people to talk with you. they'll actually want to read your blog post or look forward to reading your newsletter. This is a really different approach from interruptive marketing, which is mostly about pitching products or services. Instead, engaging marketing is all about providing useful content. Let's go over the 3 C's of content marketing. These are the exact steps you need to take in order for this approach to work. First, you need to connect. You need to look at what are your interests, what are you good at, what are you skilled at. Then you need to take a look at your audience. What are their interests, what are they concerned about, and what keeps them up at night? You want to bring them together, connect them, and look for those commonalities. What a lot of people end up doing, though, is they focus too much on this end. Most people talk so much about their own interests that it's not really relevant to their target audience. And so many people actually skip this step of doing research to understand their audience and their pain points. They jump right into the second step, create. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's all about creating the content. It's writing the blog, recording the podcast, or shooting the video. But what most people get wrong about creating content is they skip that first step of researching. They also sit around and wait for inspiration instead of planning out what topics they're going to talk about. And when they do end up posting content, they often think that's enough. They don't pay too much attention to the formatting, they post it at whatever time they get it done, and they write headlines that don't attract people to the content. The thing is, building that piece of content is just the first step, and there's a whole lot that goes into it behind the scenes to actually bring people to that content and attract them to it. The third C is circulate. This means getting the word out about what you just created. Because here's the reality. Most people, when they hit publish, they stop there. But writing great content isn't enough anymore. You probably have your own social media channel set up and even your own newsletter. And posting your new content on those channels isn't enough either, especially if you have a small following. You need to be strategic about where you share it and who you connect with so you can leverage other people's audiences. This is another step that's often overlooked. You want to think about how you're going to market each piece of content you create. Because if you don't market your content, you might as well not create it at all. But do you want to know the best part about doing content marketing? You can build relationships in your sleep. Think about it. If you put up videos or publish a podcast or a blog, people are reading those posts whenever it's convenient to them. They might be checking out your video when they have a few minutes during their lunch hour, or reading your blog post at 2 a.m. when they can't sleep. You don't have to actually be present to build that relationship. And when they hear your story and engage with you, you're building that relationship without you having to do that one-on-one or to be there for every single interaction. Here's the problem. Every day you wait to get started, it's only going to get harder. And here's why. The days of putting up a blog or starting a YouTube channel and getting tons of traffic are over. Do you remember this Charlie Bit My Finger video on YouTube? It was a home video of 2 little brothers, and the younger one is biting his big brother's finger. It's cute, but there's so much on the internet now that there's no way this video would go viral today. If you think getting on Facebook or Twitter or starting a YouTube channel is new or innovative, well, those platforms are actually over 10 years old. Getting on social media isn't new. It's business as usual. And businesses and people all over the world are churning out tons of content every day. We're living in the age of what Mark Schaefer calls content shock. If you think about it, how often do you get to the bottom of your Facebook feed? Even your friends and family are posting so much, you can't even see it all. And because of all this competition, coaches and consultants attempting to do online marketing alone won't be able to compete with companies with big marketing budgets. And maybe you think, well, I live in a small area and what I do is pretty unique. People will find me online if they want to. But take a look at this. Let me show you a quick search for a graphic designer in Austin. There are over 7 million results if we search for this on Google. Not only that, if you have any hope to get on the first page, you'd have to do some advertising. And these advertisers are paying over $6 per click for this search term. This is not something you want to dive into alone. Most coaches and consultants think they're a big fish in a little pond, when in reality, they're a small fish in a big ocean, and they're competing against companies with big marketing budgets and people who started their blog or YouTube channel 10 years ago when it was easy to get found online. Now, it's extremely difficult to compete with them without a plan. It used to be that if you had a great newsletter, ebook, or webinar, tons of people would be clamoring to sign up for your list. But those things are no longer a novelty. Let's face it, anybody can create fake credibility with a cheesy book, and it's basically destroyed the marketplace with all of these wannabes. Since it's so easy to put together a 10-page ebook, everyone started doing it, and it became pretty difficult for people to distinguish between the coaches and consultants who are actually good and those who just started yesterday. Since there's so much garbage out there on the internet right now, people are guarding their time very carefully, and they're also guarding their email addresses and their social media feeds. They're reluctant to sign up for anything new. Think about it. When you go to a store or buy something online and they ask for your email address, do you give them your best email address that you check every day? Or do you give them one that you don't care much about and that's probably full of spam? I bet you are also pretty careful about who you give your best email address to and who you follow online. And your audience is doing the same. So do you want to spend all of your free time trying anything and everything, hoping it will work? Or do you want to spend the least amount of time getting the most profitable clients? Let me ask you this. How much money did you make in the last 30 days? And how much money should you have made in the last 30 days? Let's take this for example. Let's say in the last 30 days you made $5,000. But you know you should be making $15,000. The difference is $10,000 per month that should be in your bank account, or $120,000 over the last 12 months. So it's cost you $120,000 over the last year of money that should be in your bank account, not to have the right online marketing strategy. What could you have done with that money? Maybe your spouse wouldn't have to work. Maybe you could buy that new car that you really need, or take that vacation that you haven't taken in years. So what's the solution? Endless blog posts? Another new social media profile? Or maybe you just keep hoping your next post will get you clients? The answer is the right system. Here's my bold prediction. 95% of coaches and consultants who don't master online marketing will never be able to scale their business. There is no next great thing. The internet is too saturated with content to go in without a solid strategy.